Hello, welcome and namaste everybody and all the co-explorers on Zoom platform as well as on the YouTube platform. We welcome you all in our weekly family reunion or follow-up session of SIP Module 1, Universal Human Values, UHV1. We have our source person and co-explorer, Dipesh Bhaiya with us. Welcome Dipesh Bhaiya, namaste.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Namaste.
Welcome Bhaiya, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Parishit Bhaiya. Namaste. Namaste to all. Hope I'm audible to you. Am I audible? I'll try to share the slides from my side. Hope I'm audible. Yes. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste to all. Welcome to this session on the follow-up of the eSIP program, which we conduct regularly on every Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. And we all know that this is a AICTE initiative, and to enable the student community to have a follow-up of what we discuss in the students workshop, and also for the faculty for revising so that they will have the content exploration more. And in the last few sessions, we were discussing about, we have just started about the harmony in the family. And today we will be moving to the respect as the right evaluation portion. In the last session, last week, we have the Padidi who have shared, completed the trust, the feeling of trust. And now we will move to the next feeling of respect. So here we have the fundamental slide, or the title slide, where we mentioned that the basic human aspiration of each one of us is to be in a state of continuous happiness and prosperity. And we have extensively defined and discussed what happiness is. And we all are able to see that happiness is to be in a state of harmony. And what about the program for fulfillment of the human aspiration, the human aspiration, basic human aspiration of to be in a continuous state of happiness and prosperity? And the program is to understand harmony and live in harmony at the 4 levels. The first portion is about the understanding portion of the harmony. And the second part is about living in harmony as per the understanding. And at the 4 levels, and the 4 levels are at the level of human being, at the level of family, at the level of society, and at the level of harmony in nature and existence. So in this one, in the previous sessions, we have covered understanding the harmony at the level of me. We have seen the harmony at the level of human being. We have seen at the level of self, right? We have seen the harmony at the level of human being with the body, the self with the body. Then we have moved to the second level, which is the harmony in the family. And that's what we are pursuing right now. And what is the process of understanding? The process of understanding is through self-exploration, isn't it? What is self-exploration? So here, whatever we are putting as is a proposal, which means that we need not assume it to be true or false immediately. It is not a set of dogmas. It is not a set of right or wrong thing, which we state here. We state here it as proposals. So what does that mean? Like we can verify it at our own right, isn't it? So it's a two-step process. The self-exploration is a two-step process where we take each one of the proposal and verify it on the basis of our natural acceptance. And what is natural acceptance? Natural acceptance is an innate faculty in each one of us. It doesn't vary with time. It doesn't vary with geographical distance. It doesn't vary with age. So we verify each one of the proposal based on our natural acceptance. And the next step, if at all we found that it is natural, the proposal is naturally acceptable to us. The second step is to experientially validate the proposal. And how do we do that? We do that by living according to the proposal. And while we live according to the proposal, if the behavior, if our behavior with the other human being is leading to mutual happiness, and our work with the rest of the nature is leading to mutual prosperity, we can say that the proposal is right for me, isn't it? And once the proposal is right for me, it has become part of my right understanding. Right? And if at all we feel that it is not right, probably we can go into rechecking whether it is true for the natural acceptance. Did we make any mistakes in evaluating that proposal? Check that and correct that. And then again, experientially validate it. Right? So basically, when we say the family, at the level of the family, we say, what is the role or value in the family? Right? And we have seen that in the trust part, we have seen that there are 4 aspects of relationship. The first one is the relationship is. It exists between oneself and another self. Irrespective of whether we are able to see it or not, it exists. The relationship is. And the second aspect is that there are feelings in relationships, in oneself for the other self. Right? And these feelings can be recognized and they are definite. That is the third aspect. We can see that the trust is there or trust is not there. Respect is there or not. Similarly, when the feeling is there, we can recognize that feelings within us. And the last aspect is that the fulfillment of these feelings, the evaluation, will lead to mutual happiness. Isn't it? And the 9 naturally acceptable feelings, which we have listed, are trust, respect, affection, care, guidance, reverence, glory, gratitude, and love, where the trust is known as the foundational value. and the love is called the complete value. Right? We have spoke about trust. We have with examples in the last few sessions. We have tried to understand trust. We have tried to experientially validate the trust in our lives. Right? Now, just to say what trust is the assurance that the other wants to make me happy, isn't it? Do we have any sharings with respect to the content of trust or the content what we placed here so far? We can have maybe 1 or 2 sharings because it has been a week after we have completed the foundational value of trust. And we might have tried to explore with the content of the trust. Maybe we've tried to verify with our relationships within the family or maybe at the institution also. We might have tried to do pursue the relationship with the light of understanding of the value of trust. So before we go into the details into the content of respect, probably if at all, if you have any sharings with respect to trust, you can raise your hand so that mic will be provided to you. Fine. Maybe it is clear for you, or you may not have much sharings to be done here. Right. So we will move to the next naturally acceptable feeling, which is respect. It is called Samman in Hindi. And what is respect? Respect is right evaluation. Right. That's what we as respect. And in Hindi, the word Samman can be split into Samman, which is like Samyak plus Mapna, ठीक आंकलन करना. Right. So, so in the right side, you can see that it is about the figure which we have familiar with, which we have discussed in the harmony of human being and the harmony in the self, right? Now which we are familiar with this. So what do we do as evaluation? So whether we evaluate the self or the body, we know that human being is a coexistence of self and body, right? So we basically try to evaluate the self. That is when we do the evaluation. And is the evaluation needed? Do we do this evaluation? What do you think about it? So whenever we interact with other people, we constantly evaluate the other, isn't it? With respect to the person's behavior or what he speaks, we constantly evaluate the other, right? So when we say evaluate, here what we are trying to say is the evaluate of the human being with respect to the self. And we all know that the desire, thought, and expectation is, or what we call as the imagination, is continuously going on in all of us, right? And we have seen that the sources of motivation for this imagination could be either preconditioning or it could be sensation, or it could be natural acceptance or the intention part. This is what we have shown in this figure. The preconditioning is shown as the red mark. Here, the red portion in this picture is about the preconditioning, and the black area in this figure is where the imagination or the desired thought and expectation is based on sensation. And the small yellow area is the amount of desired thought and expectation based on our natural acceptance. And probably one thing, what we can see here is that this is not same for everyone. It can vary. This is just a general representation of how our imagination would be for most of us. It can vary based on our competence level. And the competence is what you are right now. How much of your desire, thought, and expectation is based on the natural acceptance, right? And based on the desire, thought, and expectations, we do use the body to have the behavior, to interact with others, and also to work with the rest of the nature. Isn't it? Right. Do we have any comments about this, what we have shown in this figure, or are we clear? And probably what we are all aiming at is, to make more and more desires, thought, and expectation in line with our natural acceptance, which means we are all aiming at making this yellow area larger and larger through self-exploration. We try to explore our preconditionings and with respect to the proposal, and try to make that into the knowing part, the understanding portion, so that it will come under this yellow area. Similarly, the sensation portion also. So that this yellow area, the area of this yellow area, the yellow portion, will become larger and larger and larger. And as the exploration goes on, as we are able to validate more and more, at one point of time, this yellow area may be complete. That is known as the completion of right understanding. Isn't it? Right. So we said that respect is right evaluation. So before we move into what is the right evaluation portion, we'll try to understand is there any other type of evaluation other than right evaluation, right? So we have over-evaluation, which means we try to evaluate for more than what it is. That is what we call it as over-evaluation. Evaluate for more than what it is. That is what over-evaluation is. To take a simple example to understand or to demonstrate over-evaluation, when the child has performed in his 10th class and he has scored, let's say, full A+ in all the subjects, and father tried to evaluate the son, and he comes to a conclusion and say to the son that you are the most intelligent. If the father tried to make such a statement, what does that mean? Is it right evaluation or is it over evaluation? What do you think about it? Are we able to see that this is over evaluation? Can we have some responses or in the chat, or also if you could unmute and share your views, it would be nice. So when the father says to the son or the daughter that you are the most intelligent boy or girl, what is the kind of evaluation he is trying to do? Is it right evaluation or is it over evaluation? It's over evaluation, isn't it? Right. Manilal sir is saying it is over evaluation. Thank you, sir. Yes, Jagadish Bhaiya is also saying. Fine. So when you are trying to over-evaluate somebody, then there will be the feeling of disrespect, isn't it? We won't feel comfortable when somebody is over-evaluating, right? And what is under-evaluation? Evaluation is also not right evaluation, right? And what does under-evaluation mean? Under-evaluation means to evaluate for less than what it is, right? When the same father and the son, let's take the example. And if the father, when the son has grown up and he has gone to college, maybe an engineering college, and he has scored some less marks in one of the subjects, and he brought the, like the mark sheet to the father. And the same father says that, like, you are not good for anything. There is no point in you studying further. You are not good for anything. If the father is evaluating the boy like that, what is that? Is it right evaluation or is it under evaluation? Are you able to see this? It is under evaluation, isn't it? Yeah, thank you, Manikya sir. It is under evaluation, right? And then there is one more, what you call it as otherwise evaluation. To evaluate for other than what it is. If you take the same example of the father and son, and let's assume that the son has come with some more subjects having less marks, and the father is saying, you are a donkey, right? You are not good for anything. You stop studying. These comments we see, we hear from people. Sometimes parents do these kinds of remarks to their children out of unawareness. So this is called otherwise evaluation, because at this time, the father is not even considering that boy as a human being. He is equating it to an animal. That we call it as otherwise evaluation. So what we were discussing with these 3 points of over-evaluation, under-evaluation, and otherwise evaluation is that they are not right evaluation. The father is not able to rightly evaluate the boy. And whenever we are not able to rightly evaluate, or whenever we are over-evaluating or under-evaluating or otherwise evaluating, so in that case, there may not be the feeling of respect. There will be disrespect in the relationship. And that is causing many of the relationship issues, right? Between the boss and the employee, between the teacher and the student, this can happen. Between the spouses, it could happen, right? Between any two individuals, this can happen. Even though we have taken a very simple example with respect to the scoring of marks, if you look into many of the relationship problems, you may be able to connect this wrong evaluation leading to disrespect in the relationship, isn't it? I would request you to look into many of those relationship issues and see whether this feeling of disrespect between the individual is because of any of these three things: over-evaluation, under-evaluation, or otherwise evaluation. And it is this feeling of disrespect. Is it naturally acceptable? No, right? It is not naturally acceptable. And whenever this evaluation is not right, it is leading to disrespect in the relationship, between oneself to the other self. Right. So the request, the exploration says, check for yourself in every interaction with others, whether it is respect or disrespect. That is, whether it is right evaluation or it is over, under, and otherwise evaluation. So we can do this in every interaction with oneself to the other. As I said, with your child, with your spouse, with your colleagues, with your subordinates, with your boss. We constantly interact with many people, isn't it? On a day-to-day basis. And like every morning when we go for work, we interact with a lot of people. Even while if you're traveling in the public transport, there may be someone in the bus or in the train, fellow passengers. We interact and we constantly evaluate them when we interact with them, isn't it? And in these interactions, if you are able to rightly evaluate, we will have the feeling of respect in the relationship. And even if we take best efforts, there may be situations where our evaluation goes wrong. And immediately we can feel that the feeling of disrespect in that. And we can re-evaluate and then again come to the right evaluation so that the respect is brought back in the relationship. And this is a continuous process which we are able to do throughout our life, in all our interactions. Isn't it? Okay. So in this figure, pictorially representing our competence, the lack of competence, and we are trying to see what is this under-evaluation and over-evaluation and the right evaluation. So in this figure, if you are able to see, the yellow area is shown as the imagination, the share of imagination guided by natural acceptance. So this is my right understanding portion, this yellow area, which we can call it as the my competence, the current level of competence. And the red and the black area denotes the my lack of competence. Maybe the source of imagination guided by preconditioning of sensation. Okay. So if I am evaluating the other at this point, no, which is little bit lesser than his competence, that I call it as under-evaluation or disrespect. So this is under-evaluation. I am trying to evaluate the other, or it could be myself also. I can evaluate myself also. If I'm evaluating myself or the other for less than his competence, it will lead to the under-evaluation, and that is disrespect. And what is shown here is I am evaluating the other for more than my competence level, much more than my competence level. So that is what we call it as over-evaluation. And the result is disrespect. Are you able to see this? And if I'm evaluating the other with my current level of competence, that is right evaluation, which leads to the feeling of respect. Okay. And otherwise evaluation, which leads to disrespect, an example can be given as I assume myself to be the body, even though I have seen the proposals and I was trying to explore that the human being is a coexistence of self and body. But because of our preconditioning, we assume that I am the body. So that also comes under otherwise evaluation. And that will lead to disrespect. So far what we have discussed, if you have any sharings, probably you can unmute and raise your hand so that mic will be provided. We can have a discussion. You can share any of your experiences with respect to your exploration with respect to respect and disrespect or the right evaluation. Most of us, as we have seen, might be interacting with a lot of people on a day-to-day basis. And we will be evaluating the other each and every moment. And whenever it is the right evaluation, that will lead to respect. And when the evaluation goes wrong, it will lead to the feeling of disrespect. Are you able to see this? Right. Okay. If there is not much to be shared, we will go with the content. So we now will see some of the common implications of disrespect. So we have seen that over-evaluation means evaluating more than what it is. That is what over-evaluation is. It will lead to ego. For example, in the same example, what we were discussing about the father and the son. when the father is evaluating the son for more than what he is, like he was mentioning that you are the most intelligent boy, then that boy might go into his ego state, the hankar state. He might feel that, oh yes, my father is saying so. Maybe I am the most intelligent boy. And he may interact with other people with that ego state, right? And when he's over evaluating himself while interacting with others, he'll be under evaluating the others also, which will lead to disrespect in the relationship, isn't it? One more similar example, what we can say is a common example where, like, let's assume that I had a very beautiful, expensive dress, an attire, and I wear that dress and go for a party. So I'll be looking at the people in the corner of my eyes, like what is their response based on my attire which I'm wearing, the very expensive one. And let's assume that one of your friend you met in front of the gate, and he or she says that, oh, you have wore a wonderful, beautiful dress. Where did you buy this from? I also wanted to buy one similar dress. So when somebody is like that, we will be getting over-evaluated, right? And we may go into ego state, an excited state, right? It is not a harmonious state, isn't it? And then again, you walk inside the party hall, and another friend started making a comment like this. So where did you get this dress? This is an old fashion which has gone out of the market 5 years before. You are still wearing this, and you have put so much of money into this. It's a very expensive dress, but this is out of fashion. Nobody is wearing this. If some other friend is trying to make a comment like that, the previous ego, where did it go? Right? It may lead to depression. That ego portion will go into the depression portion. And sometimes it can happen. The otherwise evaluation also can happen, isn't it? And based on the people's comments, the people's evaluation or judgment on you, your feelings might go like from switching to ego and depression. Ego, depression, ego, depression. Right? And what will happen because of that? Because of this wrong evaluation which is happening. And why did this wrong evaluation happening? This wrong evaluation is happening because you are not able to rightly evaluate yourself, isn't it? So when somebody is saying something about my attire, and let's say assume that I have to evaluate rightly myself. For example, if I am wearing a dress or an attire which is neat and clean, which is suiting to the season, right? Sometimes we may have to wear like woolen clothes, or like in the winter season, and probably light cotton dresses in the summer season, which may be comfortable for you. And it is serving the purpose of the dress. And what is the purpose of the dress? The clothes, it is for the protection of the body. and the right utilization of the body. Isn't it? And if I'm able to rightly evaluate myself based on my attire, that this is the right dress, it is neat and clean, and is most suitable one for that season. So irrespective of what the other says, I'll be rightly evaluating me. And this switching from the ego to depression may not happen. Isn't it? Are you able to see that? But if you're not able to see that, if you are switching from ego to depression constantly, which means the wrong evaluation is happening constantly, it will lead to disharmony within. Isn't it? It will lead to disharmony within, and eventually, if it has become a habit, we will be in tension, we will be eventually leading to frustration. And a pattern within us, it may lead to depression. And in the worst case, it may lead to suicidal tendencies also. Are you able to see this? So the basic problem is we are not able to rightly evaluate ourselves. We are not able to rightly evaluate the other also. Right? Which means we are wrongly evaluation. We are going into wrong evaluation. And that may, at the worst case, may lead to suicidal tendencies also. So this is the some of the common implication of the disrespect. And when we are able to do the right evaluation, we will be with self-confidence. As I said in the example, earlier example, where I'm able to evaluate myself rightly, that I am wearing the right kind of dress which serves the purpose of the clothing. And then I don't have to fall into the over-evaluation based on the comments of the other. Isn't it? I in self-confidence. It will not affect me. It will not move. I will not move into the switching of ego and depression. Isn't it? Right? This is the common implication of disrespect. If you have any comments on this, you can raise your hand and share your experiences. Or if you have any questions, you can put forth your questions also. Right? Moving forward, so when we do this right evaluation, what are we evaluating? We know that we have explored that the human being is a coexistence of self and body in the earlier sessions. So when we say that right evaluation, will it be on the basis of the self or the body? Are we going to evaluate on the body or on the basis of the self? We are evaluating on the basis of the self, isn't it? We're not going to evaluate on the basis of the body. Right? And we have seen this figure, which we have explained in one of the earlier slides also, that human being is a coexistence of self and body. And this imagination is going on in continuity within us. Right? And for having the right evaluation, we will be evaluating on the basis of the self. Right. So now we will see when we try to evaluate, when we evaluate rightly on the basis of the self, what is my purpose? Am I able to see that I want to live with continuous happiness and prosperity? I'm able to see that my purpose. We have been discussing this right from our basic human aspiration, that the program, the purpose is to, the basic aspiration is to live in continuous happiness and prosperity. And what is the purpose of the other? The other also wants to live with continuous happiness and prosperity, similar to me. I'm able to see that our purpose is same. And how do we say that? On the basis of natural acceptance. What does that mean? If you ask me, what is your aspiration? I'll be able to say that to live in continuous happiness and prosperity. And if you ask me, based on my natural acceptance, is it naturally acceptable to live in continuous happiness and prosperity? I would say yes. And if I ask to any other human being, like, is it naturally acceptable for you to live in continuous happiness and prosperity? The answer would be yes. Isn't it? So which means my purpose is the same as the purpose of the other. I want to live with continuous happiness and prosperity. Similar to that, the other also want to live with continuous happiness and prosperity. Right? So if both our purpose is to live with continuous happiness and prosperity, what is the program for me, for us rather, to live for the purpose? So my program is to understand and to live in harmony at all levels of being. And what are the levels of the being? The 4 levels which we have discussed in the first slide itself. At the level of the human being, at the level of my family, at the level of my society, nature, and existence. Simply. Right? So my program is to understand and to live in harmony. And if I ask the other, if I take the other, his program is also to understand and to live in harmony at all the 4 levels, at the level of individual, family, society, nature, and existence. Which means our programs are also same. Right? And what about the potential? The desire, thought, and expectation, the imagination is going on in continuity within me. I have the imagination which is going on in continuity within me. Even though the content of my desire, the content of thought, the content of expectation might vary from individual to individual, I am having this desire, thought, and expectation. The imagination portion is continuous within me. And I'm endowed with the faculty of natural also, right? So what about the other? Similar to me, the other is also having the desire, thought, and expectation, which is going on in continuity, isn't it? Right? Which means our potential is same. Similar to I having the innate faculty of natural acceptance, the other is also having the faculty of natural acceptance, the invariant natural acceptance. The intention is also called the natural acceptance. So our potential is also the same, isn't it? So when we see my purpose, my program, and my potential, and I try to see the same for the other, I'm able to see that both are similar. My purpose, my program, and my potential is similar to the purpose, program, and the potential of the other. So I can see that the other is similar to me, isn't it? Why I'm saying the other is similar to me? Because my purpose, program, and potential is same as the purpose and program and potential of the other. Based on our natural acceptance, I can see the purpose is same. So the other means all other cells, they all have, including me, have the same purpose, program, and potential. So am I able to see that the other is similar to me? So look into yourself and see whether you are able to see this, that the purpose, program, and potential are same. And each and other human being with which we are interacting, they are all similar to me. And this is known as the minimum content of respect. Right? Are we able to see this? That the other is similar to me. But then again, there can be differences. No? Even though we have the similarity with respect to the purpose, program, and potential, what do we see in our day-to-day living? Am I able to see that the other as being similar to us? Or are we trying to show that we are special, we are unique, we are different from the other? What is actually happening in the society? Are we able to see the other as similar to me? Or are we trying to see the differences? Are we trying to show that I am special, I am unique, I am different from the other? This also we need to investigate within ourselves. We need to closely look into what is happening within us. We need to be aware of ourselves. What is going on within us? Isn't it? Right? So this is about the first portion of the respect, the minimum content of the respect portion. If we have any self-reflection with respect to the content which we have discussed here, we can have, I think 2 more minutes left where we can have any sharing. We can take 2 more minutes for any sharing for what on the basis of the content what we have discussed so far. So basically, what we have trying to see in today's session is to see the second naturally acceptable feeling, the feeling of respect. And we just started with trying to define the feeling of respect. And we've put for that the respect is the right evaluation. And we saw that whenever we are evaluating the other, if it goes wrong evaluation, there will be the feeling of disrespect, isn't it? And if you're going into the right evaluation and wrong evaluation, if you are switching from right evaluation or wrong evaluation, based on the comments of the other, we may move into ego and depression. We may switch to ego and depression, which may lead to eventually frustration, depression, and even suicidal tendencies. So for that, what need to be done? We need to be able to rightly evaluate ourselves first, right? And that will lead to self-confidence. And the last point which we have discussed so far is about the purpose, program, and potential being the same for me and the other. And based on that, we try to see that the other is similar to me, which we say as the minimum content of respect. So that is what we have tried to see in this session. Thank you so much for the patient listening. And we will see a next topic, the respect part 2 in the next session with details. Thank you so much. Over to you, Parishit Bhaiya. Namaste to all. Good night. Parishit Bhaiya, namaste. Over to you. Namaste Bhaiya, am I reaching you? Am I able to reach you?
जी भैया, sorry, thought I
Yeah,
am. So
yeah.
thank you, Dipesh bhaiya, and thank you all the course providers. We certainly like to have more and more such discussion. We'll meet again next Wednesday, same time for further discussion. Thank you all the course providers. Thank you, Dipesh bhaiya. Namaste.